Hey everybody, Norman Rice from Extreme Networks here, and we are on the eve of Super Bowl 58. And I'm sorry to say that the Detroit Lions didn't make it. I had to throw that plug in there since we're such the ignored fans over time. But that said, I'm super excited to have a really cool show for you today. Two of our customers are part of this very intricate apparatus that goes into being the host city and supporting Super Bowl 58. So I'm going to ask two folks to join me. I've got Rishma from the Harry Reid. Hi, how are you? You're on mute.
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, great. We got you joining. So Harry Reid Airport, which is the primary airport for supporting the event.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited to be here and to join in on this great conversation. Again, my name is Rishma Kimji, and I'm the Chief Information Technology Officer for the Harry Reid International Airport. We're actually a system of 5 airports that will be supporting this event.
Wow. And since it's in Las Vegas, you are no stranger to hosting people from out of town.
Absolutely.
But this isn't just another event. It's
not. And just a quick thing, you know, we plan for the NFL Super Bowl every year, because even though we may not be hosting in the other years, we actually have a lot of people that come into the city to engage in Super Bowl activities here in the city. So our passenger count increases those weekends. And so this is very exciting to actually see that happening here for us and seeing all the passengers come through, excited for the great game that's coming.
That's great. And I'm going to ask Aaron to jump on with us as well. So Aaron from the NFL. Aaron, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, Norman. Aaron Amendolia. Been with the league 20 seasons now, as we say, and this is going to be my 18th Super Bowl. So it's going to be exciting.
It is. So Aaron, you and I have done this before. We talk about Super Bowl and what goes on with technology, what goes on during the season. I want to take a little bit of a different angle on this one, given that we have, we have the host city part of this, meaning the airport itself, the entire apparatus. I want to start with, what does it mean, the Super Bowl event itself? It starts the moment in the experience somebody steps off the airplane or onto the ground. So we start there, and that's not just from an experiential standpoint, but from a security standpoint. And maybe, Rishma, we start with you. How do you look at this event differently and supporting the people and the fans that are coming to town?
Well, the first thing is that, one, we know we're going to have a lot of passengers come through the airport who are super excited to be here in Vegas for this amazing game between the 49ers. I had to wear my red today, and the Chiefs, right? And so what an exciting event. And so our purpose really at the airport is to ensure that our passengers, when they come into the airport, one, they are engaging into the city at that point. We are the first look of the city, and we're the last look of the city. So if you're coming to the best city in the world to enjoy this fantastic game, you have to make sure that the airport that they're experiencing has all the services that they need as well. And while they're here, they feel secure and protected within the confines of the airport. But our goal is to get them from the gate and into the city, into the venues where they're going to be celebrating the game. So for us, we want to make sure that there's a seamless journey, right? You get off the plane, you might have to go get some baggage. You get your baggage, you've got to get transportation to your hotel, casino, resort, wherever you're going. And so we want to make sure that that journey is seamless. You're able to get your bags, you're able to find your Uber and Lyft, you're able to find a taxi and get to your venue without any issue of lost baggage, or you're waiting for baggage, right? Or that you can't even find your way to baggage. So ensuring that our passengers can have that seamless journey once they get off the plane, that they can start to enjoy and feel the excitement around them. Our airport is so dynamic, has all the greatest features of the city itself. So to get them through that, so that by the time they get to their hotel, they are just excited to be a part of the entire week and days of all the events that are happening around the Super Bowl. And so that's our mission, is to get them there and to be excited about it.
Yeah, when you build up for a Super Bowl, I know, and I'm curious because Las Vegas has such an ability to entertain and works with people visiting year round. I mean, that's just commonplace. Other cities I've been to, they have to increase the number of flights coming in. Sometimes they'll double stack flights on Friday or Saturday, or certainly leaving. Are you seeing that as well? Are you planning for more air traffic than normal, or is it just ordinary course?
So I want to say we always prepare for that extra traffic during these special events. F1 was a great experience for us. It allowed us to really hone in on our planning to support larger amounts of passengers coming through the airport that increased traffic. And so we know that we will have increased traffic. We know that our general aviation airports, those are the non-commercial airports, are also going to get lots of private charters or private planes coming in and dropping off their visitors into the airport system. And so we are always trying to make sure that we have the appropriate amount of services available around that, right? So making sure that we're working with the FAA, that they can touch down, park, drop off their passengers. Here at the commercial airport, we want to make sure that we can get airplanes turned in a manner that is quick enough to get the next flight in and the next bank of passengers onto the ground. And so there is this continuous operation of how do we get one plane up and get the next plane in, and allow them to at least get the same services of fuel and beverage and food and all that kind of stuff loaded onto the planes, but as quick as we can. And we can't do that without the support of our airline partners, but definitely the airport is responsible for ensuring that we have a system and a network available to support all those activities to get the passengers into the city.
And now that people are on the ground, they make their way to where they're staying. Eventually, they're going to make their way, Aaron, over to you, over to the venue, and over to all of the activities around the Super Bowl. You have the active areas, you have the zones. Tell us what's going on this year.
Yeah, and I want to thank Rishma and her team. They helped us get connectivity. So when the clubs arrive in the hangars off their planes, the media can be there and capture that moment. And I know fans arrive all different ways, but the clubs arrive one way at that airport. And that really just starts the mood for the event. And, everybody wants to see them deplane with their outfits and their whatever fighting face they have on. So thanks, Rishma, for that and helping us with the media on the arrivals. Really appreciate it.
Our absolute pleasure.
And Norm, look, Vegas is a place that's used to hosting world-class events. And it's a place with a ton of excitement and a ton of hospitality, and people have a way they do things here. And every time we go to a new city, we have to work with what that city brings as far as talent, technology, and sort of the landscape, the environment. And Vegas is different. Everything is unique. And what we have to do is try to make this feel cohesive and like connect that fan experience with our OnePass app and how we engage fans digitally, but then also everybody else coming, the media coming to tell the story, international broadcasters coming in, broadcasters and domestically and CBS coming in, and then make all of that function along with the sites we use. We have the clubs coming in using practice fields and staying in hotels, and we have all of our fans, guests, and everyone else who might have been in Vegas and didn't even know the Super Bowl is happening internationally, arriving and having the biggest surprise of their life when they see what goes down. So
they're wondering, how come so much traffic? What's going on? What's happening?
Well, we kind of hope that they think this is the greatest party and they want to come back, right? Like, this is the greatest party in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and you have, as you think about that too, Aaron, it's not just the game venue itself, but all of the surrounding areas that are part of the Super Bowl experience, the fan experience, all the things that are hosted for people coming to the event. A small subset go into the game, but a huge number of folks are there around it as well. So a lot of planning goes into that.
A ton of planning goes into that. 2 years of planning nowadays. We used to have shorter planning cycles. They become much longer because of all the technology and really the sort of interconnected nature that we need of the sites, and the birth of cloud technology becoming the mainstay, and making sure that our risk and our resiliency plans really are that strong throughout the event. And we're supporting every kind of function through, just like Rishma, with security to engagement to digital experiences to operational things, scanning tickets, getting people from point A to point B, getting them into parties and transportation. So there are so many layers to this, Norman, and technologies across them all. But I think the biggest change there is that the technology all needs to be integrated with each other. So all these different components and streams of data and streams of metrics and tracking, if you are the event operator, like our executive team, you want to have a bird's eye view of these things and be able to act on them as well and communicate around them live. And that's what makes it such a unique event. It's a single day event, but there's all this, build up around it to get to it, and these moments that you just have to perform perfectly in.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is a burning question for anybody watching, given that Kansas City is going to be in the game. The other team, the two teams here, you have a new factor, which is the Swiftie factor, kind of working its own live and living fan base, working its way into the Super Bowl apparatus. I'm sure that's going to bring up, test some of those numbers there. And I think over the years, we've joked about, when an event like a music concert, like a Taylor Swift concert. In fact, this year, all of her events that were in venues, NFL venues or other venues where we had it, the numbers were close to a Super Bowl. They didn't need a Super Bowl.
Norman. Yes.
What happens? We never thought about that era at the beginning of the season. We said, geez, Taylor Swift concerts, the amount of data, the amount of engagement is off the charts. All the people participating, it's fascinating. It's awesome. But we were bringing it up to not quite a Super Bowl right there and right below it. What happens when those two worlds come together? Could be the biggest one.
I thought this is my opportunity, my team's opportunity to show Taylor Swift something. Show her, look how much data the Super Bowl moves. It's true, Norman. It's been almost like a dueling event between the Super Bowl and her shows, and playing in many of the venues that we share.
Yeah,
it's being able to compare. The consumption is there, and we learn so much by looking at events similar to ours that are single day events that have so much passion around them and so much engagement. And I think, as you know, through the years of working with us, those devices are just consuming more and more data, whether it's passively through their cloud backups and sort of the interactions, and then, purposely as people go to post things or check things when they're in the moment. So I feel like Taylor is going to get great Wi-Fi service in the stadium. I feel like she's going to have great cell service around the perimeter, and we're going to show her how it's done.
That's awesome. What way to raise the game there, Aaron. Way to bring it on. We'll see what happens on the convergence. So I've big question for me is, how do you become a host city? Like, the hosting process starts years in advance, right? So we're already talking about the next 3, 4, or 5 Super Bowls. So people, the host cities have to go through an entire application process. It takes years to get into the mix and also get into the schedule. And maybe Rishma, and you're, being in the airport apparatus, the beginning of it, all the way through the cycle. Just curious, what does it take to be part of, the host city application and win?
So really great question. From the airport's perspective, it's about capacity. How can we get those passengers in and out of the airport in a way? And even though it's a one-day event, the airport is actually busy for a couple of days before and a couple of days after, as we're receiving those passengers and then letting those passengers leave the city again. So we have to ensure that in order to support this huge event, that we can, fulfill the capacity needs. Making sure that we have integrated systems that allow for more luggage and baggage to come through our systems. We have to work with our federal partners to ensure that they're available for the security checkpoints. We have to make sure that our roadways are compatible with all of the traffic that's going to come in and traffic that's going to come out. And we have to make sure that we have that exchange of services through our baggage handling system, the security systems, our airline systems, our on-site systems. And making sure that we can at least have a resiliency built into it, because the business of the airport is to make sure airplanes can get up and airplanes can come down. And we can't do that unless we have resiliency built into our system. So a lot of what we had to prove is that, one, we could manage the capacity even though we're constrained. One of the unique things about our airport, it's right in the middle of the city. You don't see that very often in very large and dynamic cities. Our airport's right here. And so that makes it very important for us to ensure that we can get that capacity measurement right, and direct passengers to where they need to go. But at the same time, I have to ensure that those systems that manage that entire flow of airlines and airplanes and passengers through the airport, that we have resiliency built in those systems, because one failure point could cause a ricochet effect and allow other airlines and other services to have delays or cancellations. So for us, the major goal is to ensure that we've got resiliency built into our system. We've got great backups. We're utilizing the cloud where we need to. We're utilizing segmented systems where we need to. We've got a great, segmented network with this beautiful mesh, right, that Extreme has helped us develop here at the airport, that really allows us to have that resiliency and redundancy built in, so that we are not down. We might be a little impaired, but we're not down, and we're really able to function and drive those 130 to 140 passengers a day through our airport, which is a huge amount of people coming in and out of the airport daily.
Sure. And Aaron, what's it take?
Mm-hmm. Well, just thinking about what you said before about several years out. So if you think now, we're about 4 years out from identifying the next city, right? We have New Orleans next year, and then we have San Francisco and Los Angeles on deck. So now you're thinking as a CIO, as a CTO, even if you're in cybersecurity, the threat landscape, the innovation, the technology is all going to change. Look how far ago that ChatGPT and AI popped onto the scene. So 4 years out is a long time in technology. So we can't really specify specific technology metrics or goals. What we really have to do is look at projecting capacity forward, but really that partnership around being willing to build for the future, and that city is making investments in technology to be a great host, to accommodate what the future brings, and is really modernizing and innovating around, how they host events and the tech that would be required for it. So Norman, a lot of it's about partnership, the right spirit forward, and the right investments going in. Cities may tell you, we're making the investment now, and in a few years, that's going to be built out, and these things will be ready for you. And you're evaluating what are those plans and what's the future going to bring for us.
Yeah, and I always find it, one of the things, Aaron, that we've learned over time is the city makes a commitment, and then you and others come in and ensure that commitment is met, because there's an audit cycle, there's a review cycle, you have to be at the standard by the time that season kicks off and ready to go to be able to host this event and have enough, testing and everything else that goes into it through the technology, certainly the technology lens that we have. One area, we hit on is this is a national security event. And I was curious, I had asked you if it's, I think of it as the game itself, but the entire weekend. So the airport all the way through the venue, the hotel, all this stuff is part of that national security posture. And, just some of the things top of mind, maybe Aaron, Rijma, just some of the things that you're concerned about or that you're focused on, or trying to make sure that everything goes the way that we all expect.
Yeah, I'll start off at the airport. We have a great cybersecurity team. We've got a great relationship with the TSA and our other 3 partner agencies at the federal level. And really what we're doing is utilizing and leveraging the tools that we have put into place over the past few years. We know that we've got a great resilient and redundant network and services here. Look, in the end, we want to make sure that not only is our data held and it's secure and it's safe and the passengers can get through, and those services that they need to get through the airport are functioning. We have to make sure that even past our curb, once we're, getting the passenger over to their hotel and their areas where they're going to stay, we want to make sure that they can feel that sense of security throughout their journey, right? So we've got great partners at the city and the county who have put in some great tool sets as well. We've partnered with them. We want to make sure that we are extending our security profile beyond just the curb. We want to make sure that everybody has has the ability to feel safe, because when you feel safe, you're going to have a much better time, right? You're not worried about what could happen. And we want to make sure that the airport is part of that story. So when they get here, they know that their services, everything they're going to go through, everything they're going to experience is partnered with the city and the county to ensure that we're extending that security throughout their entire journey.
Yeah. And Aaron, it goes right then to you.
Yes, and we team up a lot with our CISO Tomas and the CIO Gary, and really with all the venues. So we're working with Richmond Cyber Team, we're working with the stadium, we're working with the hotels, we're working with the city, the venues, and it's multi-part. There's the cyber aspect, and we do a lot of tabletops and scenario planning around that. But there's also the resiliency of the infrastructure itself. What is our redundancy plan? And how does everyone work together when we do have to deal with fires, deal with issues, deal with things? And it's a live event. And we incorporate all the lessons we learned from past Super Bowls and other events, and maybe what other non-event NFL events that have been hosted at the stadium have worked through too, because there's always something to learn. And then I think the next key part is talking about that with all the players together. And so we do tabletops. Norman, your team participated in our wireless command center tabletop, where we have all the carriers, we have all the technology providers within the stadium, and you are in there as well. And our goal is to bring maybe those that might compete with each other in the outside world, but are all playing at the same event here to make a great experience and get us coordinated, because everybody has their own incident plan inside their organization. But now you have multiple incident plans that have to be coordinated for one cohesive response. And we set very different SLAs for an event like Super Bowl. I mean, our number one goal is the fan safety, fan experience, and the game. And so when we go through that kind of incident resolution process, we were going through our table of expectations with all these parties together, saying, perhaps in a world where all technologists want to solve a root cause of a problem, but we have to address the symptom and potentially abandon the root cause to get the game going and rolling and come back to the root cause after we've gotten everything stable again. So there's a lot of expectation setting, a lot of communication, and then a lot of planning around these scenarios, and asking everyone on our team and everyone who's contributing, what do you think we would do? What if? And what's the next stage? And then trying to build around that. But, Norm, as we said, that's a planning cycle that happens 2 years in advance and carries all the way through. So you keep challenging your plan throughout that cycle and make sure that you've addressed the things that you can.
Well, a big shout out to both of you for putting on and putting all the effort that you put into this and helping make this a safe and enjoyable event for everybody that goes and participates. And I couldn't be happier than to have both of you on here. And thank you very much for answering these questions and sharing your thoughts and ideas. And also, look forward to having a great event. We will be working together to publish. We'll find out afterwards, Aaron, if this event remains bigger or gets bigger with Taylor Swift there. When this is the first time, it's seismic. Taylor Swift, Super Bowl coming together. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. Thank you very much, Rizma, Aaron. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll go ahead and exit and roll this off.
Thank you.